now proudly presented on SNME. That's Sunday night's main event. Patreon and free feed.
We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's at the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's at the shore fine.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George Mackay here on another episode of Straight Talk Wrestling. Man, oh man, it's June. The sun is shining. The birds are chirping. The rain is pouring because it's Canada. And here we are. Me and the living legend himself. The man with the best mustache in all of pro wrestling today, bar none. Pretty Ricky Willdy. Welcome back.
How are you? How have you been? It's so good to see you today, George. Thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If there wasn't a person more I enjoy talking to in wrestling, it is you. Because
there might be, some cuter mustaches out there, but honestly, just the fact that you're going to tell me that I have the best one in pro wrestling, it's making me reflect on every mustache in wrestling, and it really is. It's warming my heart just haven't had you say that. So don't think I won't be sleeping with that tonight. So thank you so much.
Oh, I'll be in your dreams. I'm excited. All right, so let's talk what's happening this first weekend in June in Brantford. You're heading back. What is happening? Tell me all about it.
Friday, June 7th, we're back for Brantford Wrestling. We're very excited about it. We got a whole card stacked up to impress the people. But our main event is myself defending the Brantford Wrestling Championship against Jeff Black, where if he loses, he can never wrestle for my title again. And if I lose, I can never wrestle in Brantford again. And we're doing this one in a dog collar match. So I've never been in a dog collar match before. I'm very excited about it. I'm really looking to kick the piss out of Jeff Black. So it's going to be quite an event in Brantford. I've been grappling with the reality of this might be the last one. And, where that puts me as a performer, as a wrestler in my career, but also just kind of in my life and what it is that I'm doing. So it's been a very interesting couple of months for myself.
Absolutely. I want to go back a little bit. I want to talk about, I guess, the journey that you don't just get to a dog collar match.
Yes.
You don't just come up and say, okay, boom, dog collar match. You got to really have some animosity for one another to get to where you are chained together and only 10, 20, 30 feet, depending on how long the chain is, stands between you two. So how did this progress all the way to a dog collar match, Ricky?
So for years now, me and Jeff have been grappling over the Brantford Wrestling Championship, and that's really been, the pride and joy of myself and of the city. I was able to win it from him, and that does mean, a whole lot to me. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. Since then, at our last event, he locked me inside of a cage along with Greed, and he proceeded to beat the hell out of me with a steel chair, among other things. Greed's retired. And not able to get any revenge on that guy. I beat him. I've also retired him. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty happy about that personally. And then he's further attacked my knee. So in that cage match, very proud of that cage match. Put on more work beforehand to get ready for that match. More effort inside of it than maybe anything I've ever done. So I was very proud of that. But I did tear my meniscus in that match, and it cost me a lot. It cost me a lot of progress. And Jeff has attacked it since then, despite the fact that I put a lot of effort into trying to heal up. So it's still acting up, and it's still something I'm grappling with. And that's the reality here. You know what I mean? I keep coming back to that same idea, George, where if I'm not able to win this match against Jeff, if I'm not able to retain my title in Brantford, I don't deserve to be wrestling in Brantford anymore, because I put a lot of work into this rehab to try to get my knee better. And if it wasn't enough, if I'm in injury risk when I go out there, then I shouldn't be out there. And there's a reality to that, because we are able to drum up a hell of a lot of support. We have hundreds of people who come out with a lot of excitement and a lot of energy when I walk in the room, and I don't take that for granted. That's not a little thing. That's a big thing that me and them have worked on for a very long time. So if I'm not able to live up to that, and I'm not able to live up to those expectations, then again, I don't deserve that adulation. And in my head, I got all these things swirling around as I'm trying to prepare for what's going to be a fight.
It is. I mean, a dog collar match is not a match for showmanship. It's not a shtick match. It's not a gimmick match. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because it's a gimmick match with the intent to hurt the other person.
Yeah.
The dog collar match is not just to say, hey, after this, we're gonna hug it out. No, no. We're gonna both leave different, just like a cage match, just like a Hell in a Cell match, just like a street fight. When you get to these points in a feud, they are with real risks, and they are with the fact that you now want to inflict as much punishment on the other guy as he wants to inflict on you. So going into a dog collar match, I mean, A, how do you prepare mentally for this? B, you also mentioned your knee a few times already. You've done so much work to try to get it back to where it is, but it's still acting up. That's a bullseye. That's what that is. As soon as you guys are locked in, he's going after that knee. That's what he's going to do right off the bat. So A, how do you counteract knowing that you have a bullseye? And B, how do you prepare for this mentally? How do you do that, Ricky?
George, I'm going to agree with everything that you've said. I completely agree, but there is something about being in this that I've never. I was really unprepared of. So when they talk about feuds, they mean rivalries. These are professional rivalries of two men, two women, whoever, trying to be better than each other. They're in a position where it has come down to these two, and you'll find this in any career path that you might have, but it is very prominent in wrestling, and it's two people who want the same position. So when you're in this struggle with them, and it goes over a matter of years, there's this odd tendency where you actually learn so much about the other person. And in that way, I've learned so much about Jeff, and what an interesting character that he has. And to say that he has my respect is questionable, but to say that I understand the task that I'm going into would be a guarantee. I recognize what an obstacle that he truly is. And I think he's going to take a lot of pride in trying to injure my knee. I think he's going to thoroughly enjoy trying to attack my knee. And I think he would walk away as a pretty happy man, kind of left, right, or center of the outcome, if he's able to permanently damage my knee. And to get ready to get into a fight with someone who not only doesn't think highly of you, is willing to injure you, but somebody who would get that much gratification out of doing so, you recognize you're in there with somebody who's not in maybe a great mental space, and maybe that's putting me into a place where I'm not in a great mental space. And so we have to have it in this way, and I have to be prepared for the level of consequence that I'm going to face.
I like that level of consequence you're going to face. I like that. I like that. I think that's the best way to put it. And you're right. I mean, Jeff is no stranger to inflicting pain. Jeff is no stranger to inflicting punishment. Jeff is the type of guy. When you look at Jeff, you look at a man who is unhinged in the best ways possible, because a lot of pro wrestlers, to be a pro wrestler is crazy. So you have to have a little bit of level of not all there. You know what I mean? But then to say that Jeff not only has the mentality of a pro wrestler, Jeff is also dangerous, because years of experience bring years of IQ, bring years of ways to, when you're a seasoned vet like Jeff is, or yourself as well, you know how to break a body down. You also know how to break a man's mind down. You know how to break a man's will down. But when you're in a dog collar match, you have the ability to, when that man is staring across the ring from you, you have the ability to see the end game. And the end game is right in front of you. They're not going to run. They're not going to do any sick or twisted tricks to try to get out of it. There's not going to be any, there might be an interference, who knows? But the fact is that what stands between you and defending your title is Jeff. What stands between you, or stands between Jeff, and him reclaiming that title is you. So the fact is that you both are at a crossroads. And the thing is, how far left do you want to go in order, like, do you yourself, Pretty Ricky, who's pretty much a pretty good dude for the most part?
I try my best.
He's a pretty good dude. I mean, depending on the promotion, depending on the type of environment that we're going to see Ricky in, for the most part, Ricky's an enjoyable person. But is Ricky willing to go to those dark places that you may have to go in this match? Are you willing to literally chameleon yourself into somebody like Jeff? Like, are you willing to go that far, Ricky?
And I think that's a great point. I don't think I've actually considered that properly. I think that's a very interesting point, because I talk about the expectation that these people in this city have of me when I show up. And I always look at it as I have to bring a tremendous amount of fight. I cannot quit on them. I have to keep fighting the good fight despite what may happen around me. But I've never considered that maybe I've signed myself up for more violence than these people are willing to indulge me in. First thing first is protect your neck. So I will certainly be doing whatever I can to survive inside of the actual match. But I do not want to sink to the levels of just enjoying having satisfaction and just plain hurting this man. I do not take pleasure outside of winning the wrestling match. I promise you that. I am looking for a victory because I think I can do this, and I think this city deserves it. But I don't take satisfaction in trying to injure or harm Jeff Black any more than is necessary, and any more than he's willing to keep fighting for. Because as long as he keeps fighting through it, to me, that's being willing to sign up for it. But it's let me put it this way: if Jeff Black had my unconscious body, I think he would take a lot of joy in pulverizing me and trying to let the ref not stop the match. Where I think if I had him unconscious, I think it would be a pinfall, and that would be the end of it. But there are differences in men.
Absolutely, there are differences in men. I mean, not every man can be a cop. Not every man can be a doctor. Not every man can be a lawyer. Not every man can be a politician. Not every man could be Pretty Ricky.
Come on,
that's it.
There's so few of us.
There really is. So I want to say this. I want to say, have you indulged in any training where you have the dog collar around and you're working with the dog collar to see how you move with this extra weight in the ring? Are you pre-preparing for how this is going to feel, knowing that you may not be as quick as you want to be able to do the moveset you want to do with this extra weight? I mean, at the end of the day, a dog collar is like an anchor. It's going to weigh you down. You've got to carry this thing with you every time you want to attack. So have you trained at all to prepare for this extra baggage you're going to have with you?
Can I tell you what a fantastic podcaster you are? The fact that you've gone this deep, you've put this level of work in, it's noted, it's respected, and it's greatly appreciated. I give you no sense of sarcasm. I have genuinely been going to my local park with a 45-pound weight, and I've been chaining myself with the dog collar, and the other half of it is on the weight. And I've been running the same sprints that I typically do. I'm not able to do it in the gym because people would think I was insane. So I'll do it on the public property. And for the most part, if I'm running forward, I grab that chain and I'm pulling it with my hands as I'm running, because I don't want that level of pull coming from my neck. Going backwards, however, I do have a lot of strength going backwards. So backwards, I do just have the weight dragging it on my neck and just running backwards. So, I genuinely been putting a lot of work in, and I don't know. I don't know how healthy bridging is, if I'm being honest for you. I don't know how much it deteriorates your neck or how much it strengthens it, but I promise you I've been doing double the bridges because I need to keep my neck safe. Protect your neck, number one, to make sure my neck is safe going into this thing, because it's going to be a lot of pressure on my neck. It's going to be a lot of stress on that, and I want to be able to move on it. Now, admittedly, I haven't gone into the ring because the only thing I can think of is, as I'm trying to run ropes and do whatever I've got to do, having somebody on the other end kind of tug that chain. But I am nervous to have that happen in practice, I promise.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, when I think about all the things that can be done when another human being is strapped to you via a dog collar and a chain, and the fact, like you talked about, like you could want to go off the ropes, you could want to go for an Irish whip, you could want to go for a crossbody, and all they have to do is simply just yank the chain down and you're back to even.
Yeah.
And if they were to throw you over the top rope, think about the leverage and the hook that you could get in. Like it's dangerous. I mean, I don't think people really realize how dangerous a dog call. I mean, every type of match, every time you step in the squared circle is dangerous. But I would say next to a street fight, next to a steel cage, those are dangerous. They have their risks. But a dog collar match has so many different variables, and you could try to account for every situation. But here's the problem: you can't, because there's one thing you can't account for: the other person's mind. And that's the problem. That's the Achilles heel in this whole situation. That's your Golden Fleece. That's your Jason the Argonauts. That is any mythological figure you want to throw out there. That chain is Icarus flying too close to the sun. That's what that chain is. And no matter what, in push comes to shove, I do hope that you are successful. But at the same time, I'm nervous for you, man, because this is fucking dangerous. And I got to say, I mean, was there never an end game other than the dog collar match? Is this where it had to go, Ricky? Was this the absolute point it had to go, man? There was no other options?
If I'm being honest with you, I think me and Jeff, we could have finished this at the last show inside of the cage. You know, it didn't need to be greed. We didn't need to pull people into this thing. It could have just been dealt with as one-on-one man. But you know, Jeff had shook my hand rather, and we did. I really felt like we had put it behind us. I thought we were past it. So he's reopened that wound. He's decided that he's still upset. So we're putting some finality onto this thing, you know, with some stipulations that we can finally make this firm. I was hoping we could settle this like gentlemen. You know, we had brawled and battled and maybe earned a little bit of respect for each other, and that a handshake would do and we could go our separate ways. But that doesn't seem to be possible. So we've put it into contracts and made it legal and all kind of fluffy, but whatever. We find ourselves, and we're not going to do 2 cage matches because I'm not a hack. So yeah, we had to find another way around it. And there's a reason the WWE has never had a dog collar match, because they're scary. So we're very excited to be hosting one here for Brantford Wrestling.
And now, one other question I got to ask, and I think we'll switch gears to some other topics. But my last question I got to ask is are you prepared for the fact that there could be an attack before the match? There could be, because I mean, the match doesn't start until both men are strapped in. Are you nervous at all that the ref could strap you at first being the champion, and then he could go to strap Jeff in, and next thing you know, Jeff grabs that chain, he starts beating you before the match, and it's all legal because you would have to say, I want to continue or I don't want to continue. And knowing Ricky as well as I do, you're going to want to continue. So are you prepared? Have you prepared? Like I said, have you prepared for every scenario that you possibly could think of?
You know, I'm always trying to bend my imagination and think of where other people could come from or other things that could happen. I'll say I have prepared for a lot of possibilities, but I do recognize that Brantford Wrestling, anything is possible. So we will very much see what we're able to come of it. I will say this, that last time in Brantford Wrestling, Jeff Black was working with a couple of hooligans. So I do recognize that he's got goons in the back. Thankfully, Jeff is a little closer to on his own because Greed has retired and he is respectably out of the picture. But that doesn't mean that Jeff doesn't have resources. So, you know, I'm going to try my best and hoping to God that we can get those kind of people kind of thrown out of ringside or barred or something if Brantford Wrestling management recognizes that there is a persistent issue, which I will not tolerate. I will not tolerate.
100%. I mean, it's already dangerous when it's 1-on-1, but to be 3-on-1, 4-on-1, 5-on-1, yeah, it's a rough go. It's a rough go. Now, does Jeff share your political beliefs, Ricky?
Man, I can't imagine that he's too big into sharing. I can't imagine that that's a real prominent thing. And if I had to guess, he does strike me as the kind of guy who would shirk his civic duties.
So you don't think he votes?
I mean, he doesn't seem like a hardworking patriot. I wouldn't describe him as that, certainly. So I don't believe that he would. I think if he had jury duty, he might show up, he might not, and then he would complain and try to get rid of it. I can't wait until I get signed up for jury duty.
Why would you be excited about jury duty, Ricky?
Okay, free sandwiches. You get paid. You get to hang out, and you get to be a detective on a court case. So, you know, I'll figure that stuff out pretty quick. I'm pretty smart, and I would love to give my 2 cents to the legal system. I was almost a lawyer.
That does not surprise me. A personal injury lawyer, I assume?
Of course. But, you know, Canada's kind of weak with the rules. They got mad when I kept following ambulances. Life goes on.
You strike me as an ambulance chaser, 150%. Now, I gotta say this, with all the other promotions and all the other heat that Ricky, you are an organic heat magnet. You are. You draw heat like nobody's business. There was a time that you and I were at a Comic-Con or a sports card toy show together, and you interrupted my interview with Trey Miguel.
Thank you.
You did.
That's
you
true.
did. Yeah,
That's
you
true.
did.
Yeah.
And you asked me about Mid-South Wrestling. And I gotta be honest with you. I don't know how you come up with these things on the fly. I don't know. Where does it all come from? Is it just that you're that damn good?
Come on. You're putting me over before I even start. I do appreciate it. And on the heels of bringing up the fact that I destroyed that interview. So I really do appreciate that. Yeah, you know, there's a reality. People throw these terms around. I bring a lot of heat, you know? Honestly, I bring a lot of energy. That is undeniable. I bring a lot of energy, and people can agree with it or disagree with it, but Ricky's a high energy guy, and there's no denying that. I'm going to say that point blank moving forward. Another term I get told a lot, people love my character. Let me promise you, if I was an actor, if I had the ability to just come up with brilliant characters, I would be a millionaire, okay? Unfortunately, I'm still selling t-shirts and I'm not quite there yet. One day we'll get there, don't you worry. And the reason for that is because I'm not a character. I'm so deeply myself. And that's why I'm able to hit these lines that other people are not, because I'm really willing to be honest. You know, there was a great line. God, I forget who said it, but they made a comment that, most people are afraid to even admit what they want to be. Most people don't have the courage within themselves to be able to say what they wanted. I was from a young age able to say I wanted to be a professional wrestler. And you don't think I got laughs and snickers? Listen, I was 250 pounds in the 5th grade, okay? So there was, and I promise you not any of it was muscle. So, you know, the idea that you're getting laughed at and snickered, the idea that you're going to be a professional wrestler, like, bring it on. I've faced it, and I'm very proud to be able to sit here and say that I absolutely am. So it's a wacky ride out there in terms of that. Is as far as I could say about it.
That's fair. That's fair. I will say, in a world of black and white, Pretty Ricky is the color red.
Boom. Boom. I'll take that as a huge compliment.
100%. You should. And I guess I gotta
maybe
say
deep purple. Come on.
Okay, fine. Deep purple. Deep purple. Now I gotta ask this: is the fact that I mean, Brantford Wrestling, there's a lineage there, there's a history there, there's all kinds of amazingness going on.
Do you know that the first time the Hart Foundation ever teamed up was in Brantford?
I do. I actually do, because I'm a big Hart guy. So I do know that.
I'm just saying, so I'm not just making these things up. You just verified for me that I'm not I'm not just an ambulance chaser. I'm not full of anything. I really am spitting facts here. Brantford's got a deep history of wrestling. We got 3 wrestlers in our Hall of Fame. We got 4 coming up. We got Outlaw Scott Chase is going into the Brantford Sports Hall of Fame this coming June 12th on a Wednesday. We're very excited about that. We hope you all bring your friends and family down to it. It should be a hell of an event. We're very excited for Outlaw Scott Chase, our general manager.
Absolutely, it's going to be fantastic. I look at everything that, like, a lot of people associate pro wrestling in Canada or pro wrestling in Ontario with Hamilton, and Hamilton's got a rich historic history.
Absolutely.
You can't deny that. But there are little pockets that have history elsewhere. Like you talk about straight downtown Toronto, Maple Leaf Garden, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment.
Sure.
I mean, it was all there. It was all there. And then you go to Brantford, again, has a historic thing. And I believe even as far out as Pickering and Oshawa share some historic, wrestling factual legends coming out of Ontario. It's great. It's great to see that there's little pockets all over Ontario that has it. But when it's all said and done and smoke is cleared, I think that Pretty Ricky Willdy has a spot waiting for him in the Brantford Sports Hall of Fame. I do.
Come on. You're too kind.
I do. I believe that. And it's not kissing your ass. It's the simple fact that I appreciate Pretty Ricky. Every time I see you, you're always say, "Hey, George, how are you?" You know what? At the Gabe Spolsky seminar, literally a couple weeks ago in Oshawa, you were there. You were gaining knowledge. You were leveling up. You were getting better. You were doing what wrestlers should be doing consistently. Is you never stop learning, because if you think you know it all, hang up your boots. There's nothing else for you to do. But if you can keep learning, especially from a mind like Gabe Spolsky, I mean, come on. I mean, and the fact that you guys all got to put on 3-minute matches, you guys got to get feedback from a mind like Gabe. I mean, that must have, in turn, filled your head with so many more ideas and avenues of how you could prepare and take Pretty Ricky international.
Absolutely. You see the growth of it, Gabe's a guy with a real hell of a story where he was down and out at times, kept coming back, and now he's doing fantastic. And I mean, like, that's the wrestling business. You kind of just keep plucking away, and hey, that's life. You keep putting the work in, you work as hard as you can, and eventually things do kind of pay off for those people who are willing to put in that work and do admittedly have that kind of talent, because he's a very talented guy. It's very important to keep working, but it is also kind of mind blowing, to be to now be on like a text thread, sorry, not a text thread, an email chain with Gabe Sapolsky. That's like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's these names that I heard on DVDs when I was, 10, 12 years old. And now it's people that I'm talking and working with. It's a really weird journey as a professional wrestler. It's a really strange experience, but God dang it, it's cool. And I wouldn't have chose anything else.
And I appreciate the fact that every time you got something big to announce, or you got some big life-changing moment in Ricky's world, that you come on Straight Talk and we talk about it. So before
this is the media, buddy. This is the press. This is what the people are listening to. If I want to talk to an audience of professional wrestling, specifically independent professional wrestling, this is a platform to do it on. And I greatly appreciate your time. This time is not, infinite. You don't just have endless time. You got time slots, you got places for your podcast, and you're willing to put me in there to help me promote things that I'm assigned to promote. So I really do appreciate that. And it means the world to me that you would have me on here. So thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, for doing this.
Absolutely, dude. Honestly, I appreciate the kind words. I mean, to say that my show is something that people come to get the news and the information, I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that to no avail. To hear that from you, it's an honor. So before we wrap it up, again, bell time, location, everything. Do we still have tickets available? Can they get them at the door? Give us all the information you can, my friend.
Tickets are moving fast, so I'm very excited to say there should be tickets at the door. I'm not trying to say that, but get them beforehand if you're nervous, is my only point. It's Friday, June 7th. Doors open 7:30 with the bell time of 8 o'clock. It is going to be a tremendous night of professional wrestling action. We got a three-way dance that no one's ever expected before with Van Landen, Bruce Thunderstein, and Gabriel Fuerza. We got a number one contenders match taking place with Mark Wheeler and Bryce Hansen. That's a first-time ever match. Never happened before. We're very happy to host that. Same thing. We have Jesse V versus Bradford Montague. That's a first time ever. Those matches have never happened. As well as the main event, we have a dog collar match with myself and Jeff Black, where if Jeff loses, he's never getting a shot at my belt again. But if I lose, I will never wrestle in Brantford again. And there is nothing I love more than wrestling in Brantford. So it's a very exciting times, and we're very excited to have all the fine folks. And thank you so much for all the tickets sold that we do. It should be a tremendous night and a hell of a party to start our summer.
Absolutely. Guys, you want to go down, you want to get these tickets, you want to support PRW. That's Pretty Ricky Willdy. See what I did? I acronymed that. I did it.
I love it.
PRW. So you want to go down, you want to support PRW at Brantford Wrestling. You got to cheer the man on as he goes one-on-one with Jeff Black in a first-time dog collar match. It's going to be extreme. It's going to be violent. You're going to leave different when you leave this show. They're going to leave different, and this will be ingrained in your mind forever. So don't miss it. This episode is going to drop literally 1 week away from the show. So this Friday, May 31st, we're dropping this episode, and the show is 1 week after that. So get your tickets. I never thought I'd say this, but Brantford is a place you want to be on a Friday night to start your weekend. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you guys next week. Peace. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on that notification bell so you get notified each time we post a video. Alternatively, you can check us out on all podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. We are also available on the SNME Network. That's the Sunday Night Main Event Patreon. Please feel free to check us out there as well. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at _Straight Talk on Twitter, at Straight Talk Wrestling on Instagram, Straight Talk Wrestling on Facebook, Straight Talk Wrestling on TikTok, and of course, you can check out all our merch at ProWrestlingTees.com.
I don't need a nigga cosign. Without the liquor, you become a victim. You ain't never got a pole mine. I ain't messing with this generation. Fuck your gen.